just witnessed Moses Itauma going through Mike Balogun like a dose of salts, getting him out of there in 2 rounds and obviously getting a few tongues wagging and giving strength to the argument that Gareth Davies made over the week with Adi Oladipo about how good Moses Itauma is. He's obviously ranked number 2 with the WBO in the heavyweight division, 7 with the IBF and 3 with the WBA. They might improve now, obviously, after the back of that victory. And there's plenty of possible fights that I personally would throw him in with. Where do we take him next? Because there's the argument that, he's young, he's developing, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. What's he like when he's under pressure? Well, you've got to find somebody that puts him under pressure. It's all well and good saying all these things. The guy is super talented. He's got unbelievable feet, unbelievable hands. The speed that this guy moves at is incredible. And you're putting him in with decent guys. Dempsey McKean is a decent guy who's been rounds with some decent lads. He couldn't touch him. Mike Balogun, with all due respect, the only guy that's flattened him has been Murat Gassiev, a former world champion down at cruiserweight. Everybody else he's gone through quite comfortably. Tonight, he was made to look quite amateurish against Moses Itauma. You've got to put him in with somebody where maybe people look at it and go, that's risky matchmaking. That's what you've got to do next.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Spencer mentions a problem because we haven't seen him under pressure yet. I mean, in the 26 months since he turned pro, 26 months, 12-0 with 10 knockouts. Mike Balogun was a treading water fight in comparison to Dempsey McKean.
But he's 21-1. The record's there. I know it's padded a little bit. But he hasn't
fought the calibre of opponents.
But now there's Moses at a professional level.
But what I mean is that Dempsey McKean, we'd seen him in a very decent fight with Filip Hrgovic. Fair. So we knew a level about him that he was capable of withstanding someone who was an interim champion at the time, or a mandatory champion with one of the sanctioning bodies. Look, you prefaced what we were just talking about there by mentioning I'd said in the week that with Adi Oladipo on Fight Night Extra on Tuesday that he suddenly threw to me at the end of the show. We were talking about Moses Itauma.
Just bear me a second, because I'm going to come back to your point. We're going to hear from Moses himself.
Okay,
Let's see if Spencer can stick it on him and find out what he wants to do next. Over to you, Spencer.
Yeah, we're here with Moses now. Moses, I've got to say, mate, that was a sensational fight, sensational finish.
Bro, listen, like I said, I know that this was his chance to get into the big leagues. So although you lot thought that I was going to knock him out in like 1 or 2 rounds, I knew that whatever I hit him with, he's going to keep getting up. And that's what he did. But luckily, I was able to hit him with a shot that he couldn't get up from.
Listen, he showed a lot of heart in there, because that first knockdown, he could have gone down and stayed down. He got up and he come back again. You know, this is a guy with only 1 defeat on his record. What I'm going to ask you is, at what level do we need to go to before you get them rounds? Dempsey McKean, then him.
Bro, I have no idea. It's not to me to decide, it's to my team.
I know it's not for you to decide. What I'm saying is, no, I'm not getting no headline, mate. I'm telling you the harsh facts and truths. Like, you're going to a really good level and getting rid of these guys. What I'm saying, the hype, you know, there's some truth behind the hype.
I mean, thank you. But all these compliments, I can't take it in. It's going to do me no favours. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing my job and try knocking people out, and you lot can keep doing your job and hyping me up.
Well, listen, that's exactly what we're going to do, mate, and we want to see you go to the top. Well done, Moses, mate, well done. Back to you guys.
Moses Itauma there with Spencer Oliver up in Glasgow after getting rid of Mike Balogun within 2 rounds. Back to you, Gareth. You were just making a point regarding opponents, because that's going to be the big thing. A lot of fans are going to look at that going, right, I need to see him in with something. This guy is super talented. You've got to go to a really crazy level. You've got to really shock the audience, I think, in order to get them excited about a fight now with Moses Itauma, because he's that good. You have to go to a top level to see if anybody can actually hit him.
Well, the backdrop to Mike Balogun being the opponent right now, I do know for certain that they were looking to get Moses in with Justice Hooney this year, but obviously Justice Hooney has replaced Jarrell Miller fighting Fabio Wardley in June. So that's the enigmatic, but that's the enigmatic things that Moses was talking about at the press conference earlier in the week, that he was lined up to fight someone else. It wasn't Martin Bakoli. It was going to be Justice Hooney they were working towards. I sat down, Adi Oladipo played the game with me in Fight Night Extra on Tuesday at the end of our hour-long show and said, look, let me throw something at you before we finish the show tonight. Moses Itauma, right now, Daniel Dubois, I said, yeah, he beats him. Joseph Parker, yeah, he beats him. Anthony Joshua, yeah, he beats him. We didn't mention Ajit Kabayel. We didn't mention Alexander Usyk, but I said yes to those other 3. You look at the Ring magazine's top 10 in the world right now. I'm going to do it to you, right? Fabio Wardley at number 10. Does he beat Fabio Wardley?
I'll answer that question in a minute, because Spencer Oliver's going to speak to one of the guys that maybe you're going to put towards me in a minute, because Martin Bakoli's in Scotland.
Yes, he is in Scotland. He's with me right now. Martin Bakoli, firstly, how are you, my friend?
I'm okay. Good to see you again after a long time. Thank you.
Yeah, great seeing you. Listen, you're coming off that draw against Jagba. You know, talk to us a little bit about that. Was you disappointed you didn't get the win?
Of course, I'm disappointed. Even the venue that day, everyone was shouting that I'll win the fight. But the judge said, no, the fight is so. Maybe they want to see the rematch. But I'm looking forward to the rematch. I'm open up.
You know, there is talk of that rematch, but we've just witnessed there Moses Itauma, a kid that's coming through, and he's coming through fast. Your name has now been linked with Moses. I think Frank Warren was talking about that as well. Is that a fight that you would welcome?
Yeah, no. He done well tonight. It's good luck to you. Well done for tonight. I know he's got a good future on the front of him, but have a long way to go. To pick Martin Bakole name in his mouth is a big mistake. Even Frank Warren knows that I'm not his level, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to fight for the whole title. So if he wants to fight me, I don't know, I'll fight him for what. So, but it's a good fight.
Yeah, listen, Billy Nelson was saying after your fight with Jagba there that he feels that you was coming in too heavy, and he wanted you to start coming in lighter to get that mobility back. Is that something you've been working on?
Of course, it's not only about the heavy. I'm a heavyweight anyway. It doesn't matter, but I was respecting a fight that night, but Jagba, when soon he feel my power, I start running away, and it affected a little bit my weight, but my plan game was to fight and knock him out. But it's lucky that day he keep running all the round, and I'm looking forward. If I fight someone like Moses, so I'll need to lose more weight. To be honest, but doesn't matter. It's a fight, it's a night. That was not my night, and the judge said the fight was draw, but I win the fight in my opinion. It is what it is.
Listen, Frank Warren was talking recently. He said there's a possibility as soon as even August that he would take you and Moses Itauma next. What do you reckon about that?
No, I'm open to it. Thank you. And today people are calling me out because I'm going 9 years now in the UK. No one was mentioning my name. But I'm so glad and so proud of myself because today people are mentioning my name. They want to fight me. This is what I want. I want a fight. So my team are there. I think maybe if they want a fight, they have to call Boxer and Bill Nelson. If everything is okay, I'll fight. My job is to fight.
Listen, you've been known now for years as the bogeyman, and how the landscape changes. We saw the Joseph Parker defeat, and then against the Jagba, you get the draw. Now people are calling your name, and that makes you feel happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy. People are mentioning my name. So before they was avoiding me, they was scared to mention my name. But now, thank God, they're mentioning my name. No, I'm in this business to box. No, my job is to box. So now I'm so happy that I'm getting easy fight. So I'm looking forward to it.
Right, Martin, come on. Just before I throw back to the guys, give me your hit list. Who do you want in the next 12 months? Give me 3 names that you want.
The first one, I want Parker rematch. I want a Jagba rematch. And I want a Joshua in Africa, maybe next Usyk.
Well, there you go, guys. He's got it. I've asked him for 3 names. He's give us 4. Back to you.
Well, that's interesting. Obviously, he's just had a draw with the Jagba. He's been flattened within a couple of rounds from Joseph Parker, and he obviously wants to get back in the mix there, Martin Bakoli. And I've no doubt that he was going to be part of your conversation with me with Moses Itauma, because that's the focus of the conversation that we were getting stuck into off the back of his fantastic victory. Go on, then. Continue.
If we reset, at the beginning of the year, I sat down with Moses Itauma and Francis Warren in the iBox gym in South London, and Francis Warren is going to say this. We saw him in the ring there on DAZN. We didn't get to hear what he said, but he said to me that he's been around Moses since he was 17, and he believes he's a Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Lionel Messi type talent. Now, if he does fulfill the potential, we all believe in him, he could take over the division by, I think, the end of next year, and we were talking about it off air.
Okay.
He could reign for a very long time if he really has all those credentials and the minerals. When, as Spencer mentioned during commentary, the problem, which it's a good problem to have, we don't know what his minerals are like when he's massively under pressure yet, when he's in the trenches. And if he's got it, and if he can take a dig, and he's got a great chin, and we hear great things about him sparring, then he will take over the division. There's little doubt about it. His presence, his southpaw stance, his ability to deflect things, his precision with punches, his clear power and movement and IQ. We see IQ all the time, don't we? We saw it tonight. Balogun didn't get him out of first or second gear. Wasn't good enough to do that.
No.
Moses got a sweat on and he was brilliant. What I'm going to throw at you, just to recap, that I said in the week that I believe Moses could beat, I didn't say definitely would, could beat Daniel Dubois, could beat Joseph Parker, and could beat Anthony Joshua. I think he could beat all of them. I think he could. But if you look at the top 10 in the world at the moment, I want to throw it at you. I just, before we went to Martin Bakoli, though, called out Moses as one of his 4, but he was intent on 3 others rather than Moses, because Moses is the one that doesn't get him anywhere, frankly. Fabio Wardley's number 10 in the Ring magazine rankings. Obviously, he faces Justice Hooney. We're there for talkSPORT on June the 7th at Portman Road, Ipswich.
Yep.
Would Moses beat him at the moment?
Would he beat Fabio Wardley?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, but what I would...
No, you've got to give an answer.
No, I don't know the answer to that.
All right, you don't know the answer.
But what I would say is, whoever loses that fight between Wardley and Hooney, I think should be the next opponent for Moses Itauma.
Justice Hooney was a guy they were looking to put Moses Itauma in with. They're both highly ranked. I think it's WBO they're both highly ranked with. They wanted to become an interim champion or a mandatory champion because Frank Warren wanted that position for Moses. You cannot hold him back for too long. So you're getting splinters in the backside tonight on Fabio Wardley.
Listen, I don't know whether... Listen, we're basically saying here now, right, we don't know what he's like under pressure. My eye test, looking at this boy, he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Feet, hand speed, reactions, absolutely outstanding. As I'm looking at all the top heavyweights, there are 4 that I wouldn't put him in with next. The 4 are Usyk, Dubois, Parker, Caballel.
And we're leaving Fury out at the moment because he's retired. We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to him later on. So those 4...
Lago de Como and all that.
So those 4, right? Leave them. If you were to announce a fight with any of these...
So Anthony Joshua.
If you were to announce that fight, I don't think it's too much of a stretch for him. Right now.
Okay, so Anthony Joshua, I love that, Anthony Joshua, and I agree with you. Number 6 in the Ring magazine. I'm gonna go in reverse order because it is.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know whether he beats them, but if you were to announce the fight now, I'm not going to be offended by probably any of these names that you give me. Go on.
Absolutely. F.A. Jagba, number 9.
No problem with it.
Martin Bakoli, number 8.
No problem with it.
Zhile Zhang, number 7.
No problem.
Philip Hergovich, number 6.
No problem.
And then we've got Joshua at 5, and then we've got Caballel, Parker, Dubois, and Usyk. The problem for him with most of them, almost all of them, is his experience.
Yeah, you could put in Bakole into that conversation, Jared Anderson into that conversation. You can put in Chisora Gassiev. Yeah. You know, you've just been talking about Bakole, Wilder, Ruiz, all these names.
All of them.
If you were to announce a fight, Moses Itauma versus any of them next, it would not... I wouldn't be sat here going, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'd be going, well, come on then, let's find out.
Well, I think if Justice Hooney wins against Fabio Wardley, and I make... Speaking to Spencer Brown, Justice Hooney's manager, and obviously he's managed by, I think it's Michael Francis in Australia as well, and he's training up in Blackpool. I'm going to go and see him this week, at the end of next week. He's got a chance against Fabio Wardley, but Fabio, as we know, has got the dog in him. It's very hard to pick against Fabio in these fights.
Of course.
Do you think that Fabio is on his own train if Fabio wins that, and Moses Itauma is the wrong opposition? Could you see Frank Warren putting Moses Itauma in with Fabio Wardley later this year?
If Fabio Wardley wins? No.
Yes.
No. Because Fabio Wardley, like you said, listen, if you go and beat Hooney in the Ipswich fight, you're on your own. You're flying towards the World Championships. You're hoping that maybe a belt comes available. You're hoping to maybe get yourself in a situation where you're fighting. You're not looking backwards, are you? You're not looking down the rankings. However, if you get beat in that scenario, then maybe it becomes a little bit more viable matching those two together. That's why I said whoever loses the fight between Wardley and Hooney, I genuinely believe is a viable opponent for Moses Itauma.
Well, the reason neither of those, I mean, Joseph Parker, my understanding is with Joseph Parker that he will watch Dillian White on June the 7th, and that fight could be made later in the year, is my understanding.
Right.
If Dillian White, I know, but Joseph Parker is waiting for a fight with the winner of Alexander Usyk.
To be fair...
And Daniel Dubois on July the 19th.
To be fair, obviously I bang on about meritocracy all the time in this game, don't I? As I analyse that purely from a Joseph Parker point of view, he's fought White before, he came up short, he's in a rich vein of form, he would probably be the favourite going into a fight with Dillian White.
No, definitely.
So therefore it works
I would see
for
him as a
him.
big favourite, Adam.
I don't think it works for boxing and meritocracy, but it works for him as he waits for whatever
That's what I'm
happens
saying.
between
So
Usyk
it's
and
certainly
Dubois.
being looked at the moment.
Okay.
Joseph Parker deserves a world title shot. It's as simple as that.
No doubt.
He deserves to fight the winner of Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk, regardless of who wins.
So does Caballero, though.
And Caballero is in a very similar position. I mean, meritocratically speaking, I'm sure I've said this before, if we could get Caballero against Parker right now, and the winner of that would definitely qualify to fight for the winner of Dubois and Usyk. That would be the ideal scenario. But because it's snakes and ladders and you slide all the way down the snake,
would have been
they don't.
The ideal scenario would have been for one of those guys to fight Dubois and one of those guys to fight Usyk, and then everybody can come together at the end. Because let's not forget, Parker had a title shot against Dubois. It was there. And Dubois pulled out the fight for injuries and illnesses and all this type of thing, and Parker cracked on. He, for me, has not been punished, but he has kind of lost his slot there through no fault of his own.
I agree with you. He deserved the shot against Usyk after knocking out Bakole in 2 rounds. I completely agree with you. I think we've reiterated this point several times on this magazine show, and it feels at the moment like he's the forgotten man. He's the man that's been edged to the outside.
Yeah. But last week when Frank Warren was on the show, he did, I think he was talking August, September time for Josie Parker to be back out? Hopefully that matches what you're referring to now.
Potentially Dillian White.
Yeah, because I don't want Josie Parker to go and have a keep busy ticking over fight, because, like I said, we are in a good spot now. Boxing seems to be giving us the matchups that we all want to see. Like, for example, tonight, look at Josh Taylor's resume with the last 10 fights that he's had. All top guys, top contenders that have only got one loss on some of the records. A lot of them undefeated. That's what we want to get back to, don't we?
It is.
We don't want to tick over.
It is, but I think in the heavyweight division, it is the blue ribbon division in terms of the draw with an audience globally, and it's also the blue ribbon division when it comes to the draw with commerciality, with the amount of money available for them, and the decisions are based much more around business in the heavyweight division than any other division, in my view. And I think that's where, like you say, I mean, we have to give credence and a certain level of thanks to the Saudi Arabian investment, because that was largely in the heavyweight division, and it did really...
Oh, without it, we're in a mess.
It panned the gold out in the division, didn't it, over 18 months?
Well, it forced people to fight each other.
It forced them to fight each other. It created a ranking system that we believe in.
Yeah.
And that we...
And it rewarded meritocracy, as you've just been referring to.
Exactly. And I think we're there now. What we mustn't do is let it slip.
Absolutely.
That's the key. Don't let that slide back again. I mean, you know, we've poured scorn in recent weeks on the WBO rankings, for example. We've poured scorn on Manny Pacquiao coming back to fight with the WBC for the WBC world title against Mario Barrios, the holder, at 147 pounds, the welterweight division. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the WBO at the moment, you look at their rankings, Justice Hooney's 1, Moses Itauma is 2, Fabio Wardley is 3, Zhilei Zhang is 4, Lawrence Coley's 5, and Jared Anderson... Zhilei Zhang is 4, Lawrence Coley's 5, and Jared Anderson is 6.
That's ridiculous.
That makes a mockery of what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
And they can do it because they've got Alexander Usyk there as the champion at the moment, and they've got Joseph Parker as the interim.
Yeah.
So everything else underneath is not meritocratic, and we know it, and the boxing fans know it.
Yeah. I think we've got to get away from paying too much attention towards sanctioning body rankings, because people are there because they paid sanctioning fees and they're favourable with particular... It's like, how can you be a champion in the heavyweight division and hold an alphabet belt but not be ranked by one of the other alphabets? It's absolutely ridiculous that happens in this sport, and therefore we need to get to the stage where that happens, so therefore we can actually force mandatory unifications a lot more in the game. We need to pay, I think, from a fan point of view, a lot less interest in some of these ranking systems and some of the noise that goes in and around these ranking systems. We know what the crack is. You know, you watch enough boxing, you watch enough of these athletes to know who's doing well, what's a good win, what's a padded win, and who is well within their right to be calling for title shots. As we stand right now, Josie Parker and Ajit Kabayel have served the time. They've had 3 great wins apiece. I think they should be in line for world title honours. You can't really begrudge Daniel Dubois getting another go at Alexander Usyk, given the 3 wins that he's just had previously as well. So we're in a good space at the top end. the rest of them, I wouldn't mind a lot of these guys fighting each other and having a little bit of a round robin to see who the rising guy is. I like the fact that Fabio Woodley and Justice Hooney are fighting each other. Do you know something? I like that fight a lot more than I like the Jarrell Miller fight.
No, I like the Jarrell Miller fight.
Well, everybody knows my thoughts on Jarrell Miller and what he's done in the past, and my attitude towards whether he should be or shouldn't be allowed to continue at the highest level making a lot of money. I like Wardley Hooney. I think that interests me more than Wardley versus Jarrell Miller. And you'll come at me maybe from a different angle because Miller is a bit of a gob and he'll sell it a little bit more.
That's
create
why, and he did create a lot of ticket sales. But I'm going to go back to Moses Itauma before we go to break, okay? And I'm just going to say the next fight, our break, their fight. That what I find fascinating about Moses Itauma is that his first language is Slovakian. Yeah, because he was born in Slovakia. Mm-hmm. His mother's Slovakian. His father's Nigerian. Great man, his dad as well. This is a famous story if you're listening to this and don't know about Moses. School uniform, age 15. Stripping off his school uniform straight from school to spar with Joe Joyce. His first boxing sessions as a 9-year-old, he vomited so badly he never wanted to go back to the gym again. And yet, this is a kid who may be a world champion if he fulfills what we believe in him. He may be in the top 4 youngest ever heavyweight champions of the world. Mike Tyson was the youngest, Floyd Patterson was the second youngest, and Muhammad Ali was the third youngest at the age of 22.
Good company.
Oh, it's very good company, isn't it? It really is. He's a special guy. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what's made us piggyback on this conversation about heavyweights. Obviously, we've got massive heavyweight fights coming up. June the 7th, Fabio Wardley and Justice Hooney at Portman Road. Brilliant for Fabio being an Ipswich boy. The Tractor Men, are they?
Tractor Boys.
The Tractor Boys. Yeah. July the 19th, Wembley Stadium. I think Frank Warren told us they're up to about 80,000 tickets now for Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. And we wish Daniel and Don Charles well in that. But it's great to have these heavyweight fights that are in the UK.
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to talk heavyweights a lot more later on in the programme. We're going to talk Tyson Fury as well with his post from Lake Como a little earlier on today on social media, so make sure you stick around for that.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.